Hello, it's April from April's Home, and today I thought I would share with you my library book haul. I recently renewed my library card. I used to go to the library all the time, but I hadn't gone in a few years, and apparently if you do not use your library card in a few years, in our county anyway, you have to renew it. So I was really excited to get a nice new library card and get back into checking books out at the library. I have a very large book collection here at my home, and so I really need to limit the books that I continue adding to my home. Now, of course, I'm still going to be purchasing books and adding books to my library as I continue to build my library, but I thought that it would be fun to utilize the library for books that I don't necessarily need to collect, and also for books that I'd like to check out before I purchase them. And then also, I had the opportunity to attend during a library book sale. This is something that I've done in the past. It's a really great way to take a look at some vintage books that they have that they're kind of recycling out of the library. They are perhaps not as relevant to the everyday library goer, or perhaps they're getting a little bit old and they need to make room for the new. So it is really, really fun to check out those library book sales. And also it's where people who donate books, a lot of times if they're not put on the library shelves, they're put into the book sale so that it can benefit the library. So that is also something that I did while I was there, picked out a few really interesting books to check out. So first I'll share with you some of the books that I actually checked out at the library. The first two books are by Leslie Meyer. I really enjoyed the books by Leslie Meyer that I read in October for the Halloween season. I read the Wicked Witch Murders as well as the Candy Corn Murders, and both were really fun, very easy to read, lighthearted mysteries. I really enjoyed them both. So I thought that I would go ahead and check out the Turkey Day Murder as well as Leslie Meyer's newer book, Turkey Trot Murder. I thought it would be fun to check these out and give these a read. And if I really love them and want to add them to my permanent book collection, I can purchase those later on. But yeah, I thought that that would be really fun to read during the month of November. Again, I love these lighthearted mysteries. They are so fun to read, cozied up by the fire with my cup of coffee. Definitely really, really fun. So Turkey Day Murder by Leslie Meyer and Turkey Trot Murder by Leslie Meyer. The Turkey Day Murder says Tinker's Cove has a long history of Thanksgiving festivities, from visits with Tom Tom Turkey to the annual Warriors high school football game and Lucy Stone's impressive pumpkin pie. But this year, someone has added murder to the menu, and Lucy intends to discover who left the Connecticut Indian activist Kurt Nolan deader than the proverbial Thanksgiving turkey with an ancient war club next to his head. So that sounds like fun. And then let's see, Turkey Trot Murder. So here it says it's late autumn in Tinker's Cove, Maine, and the last surviving flowers on Lucy Stone's porch have fallen victim to the first frost of the season. But as the part-time reporter learns, this cold November morning will claim more than potted plants. So sounds like another turkey-themed murder there. So I'm really excited to get reading on those. And then I checked out this. This was one I had taken a picture of when I went to visit the Amazon bookstore. And this is sort of like a choose-your-own-adventure book. It's called Romeo and or Juliet. It's a choosable path adventure by Ryan North. Back in the late 80s, I absolutely loved the choose-your-own-adventure books. I actually own quite a few of them. I really love those. So I thought that this new twist on a classic would be a really, really fun, and again, a fun, quick read here. Looks like you can choose a lot of different little choices here. So that looks really, really interesting. I'm super excited to read this as well. This next book here is called Goodbye Things by, I think, Fumio Sasaki. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right. Anyway, this is another book on minimalism, the new Japanese minimalism. It's one that's been in my shopping cart at Amazon for a while, but I wasn't sure that I really needed to own it. I just kind of wanted to give it a quick read to see what I thought about his take on minimalism. So I was really glad that I was able to check this out as well so that I can give this a read and see what I think. So it's, again, really nice to be able to check these books out before I purchase them to make sure that I really like them. And also sometimes you just want to read a book and you don't need to own it permanently. So I thought that that was really nice. And then also I checked out a book on bread making. I really want to get back into baking bread a little bit more here this fall. I love baking. A lot of the foods I bake are the quick breads and cookies and pies and different things like that, but I don't get in much to the yeast raised breads, and I would really like to learn a bit more about that. So I thought I would check out this book and check out some of the rest recipes in that. So I thought that that would be fun reading for the month of November there. And I just thought I'd update you quickly too on the books that I was going to review in October. I was going to review the Worst Witch series. It was absolutely wonderful. I read books 1 through 7. I watched the Netflix program, as well as I've seen in the past the older movies and the old series. All absolutely wonderful. I would highly encourage you to read that. Unfortunately, my October got away from me. We had some family members with some serious health issues, and I was kind of processing that and dealing with that a little bit, and was really unable to get as much done in October as I wanted to, but perhaps I will be able to talk about that later on. But I will definitely suggest that if you love cute children's stories, the Worst Witch series is absolutely wonderful. So hopefully I will be able to review more of my Halloween literature favorites next Halloween. But moving on to the books that I purchased at the library book sale. At the library book sale, what I do is I just kind of pick out books that just seem intriguing to me. They're very, very inexpensive. Hardbacks are $2, I believe. Children's books are less than that, like $1, and paperbacks are like $1. So you can really just, pick out quite a few books and, just to check them out. And what I do when I'm done with them, if I don't want to add them to my permanent library, I just donate them right back to the library and they can sell them again. And that way they can, the friends of the library can add more money to their program. So this one is called 43 Old Cemetery Road, Dying to Meet You, and it's a really interesting format. I wasn't going to get it at first because it just seems really strange, but it's a series of like letters back and forth, and it just looked like a really interesting read. I've never read a book of that format before, so it just looked like a lot of fun. And it seems a little bit like a mystery, and I just love the theme of that. I'm not sure if it's a children's book or a young adult or what, but it just looked really interesting. And again, that's what I do at these library book sales. I just pick out books that look interesting. If I don't like them, I can donate them back. And that is, by the way, where I donate all of my books that are in good condition when I'm done reading them, or when I'm decluttering my personal library, I bring those over to my local library to add to their book sale. And then the next book I purchased, it looks like it is a Newberg winner book, and it is called The Moor Child. It looked really interesting here. I think it is about like fairy folk, and usually they're unable to be seen by regular people, but one of them ends up being able to be seen. She can't hide from the humans. So it kind of goes through that adventure a little bit. I love those sort of folk tales. Those are some of my favorite things to read. So I thought that I would check out The Moor Child. And I also love checking out all of their really old cookbooks. Now, I cannot save paper books that are a little musty. I can't save them for very long. I'm really actually quite allergic to old paper. But I absolutely love going through old cooking cookbooks. They have really interesting recipes. I've gotten a lot of my recipes and inspiration for different recipes from old cookbooks. I love how they have different writings in here, just because they're old books that used to belong in someone's collection. And it just looks really interesting. This one kind of goes through and is sort of done in a story format. So I thought that would be really interesting. I love cooking and homemaking, and reading these old vintage books on that is really, really interesting. And then another thing I really love are old sort of school type textbooks that I would have probably read when I was a young person visiting the library. And this is from the Mystery Library, and it's on extraterrestrial life. I just thought it would be fun to check out a book like this. This one isn't that old. It's from the early 2000s, but it does just remind me of those sort of books that I used to check out when I was a kid. So I thought it would be really fun to read that one real quick. And then also I got this one here. This is called The Magician and the Pet Napping, Stories and Pictures by David McKee. And again, just an interesting children's book. I really liked the illustrations. It kind of spoke to me. It reminds me of some of the illustrations that were in the books that I looked at growing up. And then let's see, 2 more books here. So this one here, again, another old cookbook here. This is a casserole cookbook. I love making casseroles, and again, I really love those vintage recipes. A lot of my recipes come from my mother and my grandmother, and this perhaps would have been a recipe book that they might have gotten one of their recipes from, or inspiration for recipes. So again, I love those vintage cookbooks. It's fun to kind of get an old-fashioned take on things. So I'm going to have a lot of fun looking through that. And then lastly, I came upon upon a really fun little treasure here. If you follow my channel, you know that I love fun cryptozoology type things, extraterrestrial life, and of course the Sasquatch. I have a lot of fun with that sort of thing. I live in the Pacific Northwest and there's always talk of Sasquatch around here. So when I spotted this old book here on the track of the Sasquatch here, I thought that that would definitely have to be one that I brought home to take a look through. Just a little old book here. I just thought it would be really fun to read. So this book is from 1968 and I just thought that that was great. So a fun book there about the Sasquatch just to take a look through. Again, I won't necessarily be adding all of these to my permanent library, but I definitely was intrigued by them all and want to take a look at them. And I'm also really, really excited about all of the books that I checked out at the library, some new releases here, as well as some books that have been on my list to read for quite some time. So that is some of my November reading and some of the fun books that I checked out at the library, as well as purchased from the library book sale. This month I've decided to join the Friends of the Library as well, so I will be going to that meeting and seeing what I can do, how that group works out, and maybe perhaps volunteering at the library some, which is really exciting to me. I absolutely love books. I always have. I've always enjoyed visiting libraries and bookstores and things like that. So really excited to be doing that later on this month, as well as doing all of this reading. And go ahead and leave in the comments if you would like me to make a follow-up video, perhaps sort of discussing some of the books that I did read and what I thought about those books. I think that that might be interesting to do, so definitely let me know in the comments if you'd like me to do a follow-up to some of these books. And then also later on this week, I will be posting some of the new books that I purchased this month as well. I'm also really excited about a few books that I found at Target and a few books that I ordered from Amazon. So I'll be sharing those in another video. I hope you enjoyed taking a look at all of these books I picked out at the library. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, hit subscribe for more videos from April's Home. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll talk to you later. Goodbye.